Nobody indeed. What is good? Welcome into Driving the Line. My name is Alan Bell. We've got a fantastic show lined up for you today. Day 2 of the NCAA tournament. Also, we can bet on. All right. Will my internet last the entire show? We've had a stroke the last 2 days. You know what? Feeling better. Got out of the hospital pretty quickly. All right. As coaches always ask, are you hurt or are you injured? All right. So we're good to go. We always finish our shows. We're going to set the number at 22 minutes to see if we get a connection timeout of 60 seconds. Anyways, that's enough messing around here. Before we look forward, we have to look back at how we did yesterday. All right, and 3 and 4 for me. Oh man, we almost stole one in that Texas A&M Vanderbilt baseball game. We were one single away from stealing an over. Oh, we had it mapped out perfectly. We just couldn't get that last hit, man. But yeah, look at Greg, man. Dude, Big California Wager crushed it, man. Went 3 out of 4 yesterday. Well done to him. All right. Make sure to join the Discord. Folks in the DTL crew are crushing bets, man, left and right. I'm telling you, man. Go ahead and scan that QR code. It's free. It's a ton of fun, and you can absolutely mash in their live bet all through it. It's the best place to be through the weekend. Okay, now, I'll pull that off there. There we go. All right. Let's get to the picks. This is going to be a hell of a fun day. Gregory, my man, how we doing, bro?
Good. Happy Friday.
Happy Friday indeed, my man. Happy Friday indeed. Now, okay, so before we jump in, all right, to our picks for today, I wanted to kind of take a look back, all right, at Thursday and kind of the betting results of what we had. Okay, it'll make sense when I pull it up here. First off, Esteban, AB's internet to go out minus 3,000. Great call on that one. Yeah, we've been making it about 21 minutes. That's about the average where we get that 60-second timeout. So hopefully we don't get that one. But see, yeah, we've had bad storms. It's finally nice out here. So there we go. Okay. Now, my boy, here we go. Let's take a look at this. Okay. So I'll pull this full screen so everybody can see. So through 16 games on Thursday. All right. Favorites. All right. Against the spread 9 and 7. Underdogs, obviously 7 and 9. Out of those 7 underdogs, 4 of them outright winners. Overs went 7 and 9. Unders, obviously, 9 and 7. Okay. Now, take a look at the numbers here. All right. And I'll pull ourselves back on. Okay. Here's what I want to pay attention to on the left and the right. Okay. On the left, all right, favorites that covered. Okay. We had a 1 seed, big number, a 2 seed, big number, a 3 seed, big number. Both 4 seeds. It was the only seeding that both covered in the day. Obviously, we have 2 more 4 seeds that are going to play, but something about that 4 seed at 7.5, kind of our sweet spot there. All right, got a 5 seed, a 6 seed, 7 seed, and 8 seed. That's pretty even distribution. All right, of covering and not covering. Now you look at the other side. All right, underdogs that were outright winners: a 9 seed, a 10 seed, an 11 seed, and a 12 seed. All right, your tightest games in regards to seeding that we have there makes sense. We had a 14 seed that covered, 15 seed that covered, and a 16 seed that covered. I mean, it's about as even as you can get it in regards to what we saw. Anything stand out to you? I mean, that's about as even as it gets.
Yeah, I think that, like we said, that with the exception of those couple top tier teams, we felt like this was really just a witch's brew of anybody at this
Yep.
point. One team gets hot, one team gets cold. We know that the way this tournament format is that you blink and it's too late. I was baffled yesterday at the McNeese line that just continued to stay up with everyone. Clemson hadn't hit a shot in like 25 minutes, and McNeese was still the underdog, and I couldn't figure out why. And I mean, that is probably the most deceiving final score if you could ever see when you see what 75,
Oh my God,
73.
yes,
It was
100%.
never there was never a point where Clemson was back in it within 10.
No, not to interrupt you. McNeese was in prevent defense the entire second half. Yeah.
Yep, 100%. Yeah, I mean, I guess to dive right into it, my biggest concern would be the hosing that even though I won and we had it, it's here at 3.5. UCSD got absolutely
Yeah, against
screwed.
Michigan. Yeah.
To put it slightly, that was how many different ways could they make sure that UCSD does not win this game? I mean, that was a rough final stretch with endless calls that hadn't been called, and then no call at the end, and then just no fouls at all for some reason. And I was happy that we covered that number. I also took Michigan money line, so we hit that middle perfectly. But I did not like the way that one went down. It smelled very fishy.
Yeah, you weren't the only one either. I had some friends that had bet on UC San Diego, and I mean, the entire game, they were like, literally, do the refs have Michigan in the bag? Like, what the hell is going on in this one? So you weren't the only one on that one. Now, all right, our final slide here of just stats. Okay, so we had 16 games, right? 7 overs hit, 9 unders hit. Now, again, look at the distribution, man. All right. 9 seed over an 8 seed, an overhit. 9 seed won that one outright. Another 9 seed, an 8-9 seed. All right. Both of those hit the overs. The only one, right, where we saw the same seeding that both hit the over. All right. 10 seed over 7, 11 seed, against a 6, 13 and a 4, 14 and a 3, a 15. I mean, just absolute equal distribution across the board. Really, the only thing that we saw were 4 seeds at -7.5 for covering. All right. And the 8-9 seed games were going over. And those aren't small numbers either. So anything that you see out of here.
Yeah, if you had the under in that Creighton game yesterday, I'm
Yeah.
really sorry. That was what, 20 points in the last minute, basically. I think pretty much. That I I'm sorry. That's a
No.
tough one.
Yeah, no,
That's
no,
a
no.
tough one to swallow. That's like a only way I can think of that one is basically like a 1-1 baseball game that ends 8-7 in extra innings. Like
Yeah,
that. That's a kick to the guts on that one. But you know what? This is tip your cap to the odds makers, I guess the computers.
yeah.
But boy, you get on those numbers right, and you run these simulations enough times, and it is still amazing to me. We do this every day. It still amazes to me when you break your numbers down and look at the final scores in some of these games, and you're just like, how can it be this precise with humans every day?
I
And
know.
you know what? That's what makes it fun. So it makes
Yeah.
it why we want to come out here and beat you at it. But yeah, I mean, an interesting first day. Not a lot until that McNeese game. It was kind of blah blah blah. It felt like what we expected early, at least, was gonna go down, and a couple upsets. But I think today will be interesting. I feel like a lot of those teams get underneath that screen and watch a little bit too much and start getting in their own heads sometimes. And I mean, we've seen it where you've got to put these smaller teams away early because the more hope you give them, the crowd will get against you, and you're in for it real quick. Suddenly, the refs want these underdogs to win if it's not the 1, 2, 3 seeds, and it'll be interesting again today. I hope that we get some madness late in one of these 1 or 2 seeds.
Yeah, I'm totally with you there, man. Brent says fouls make overs. Absolutely, man. Fouls and teams hitting free throws, 100%. Now, Texas Joel, 49.99 super chat. My boy, dude, thank you. Unbelievably. Thank you. You are the absolute man. Dude, Joel's always representing, man. Always showing out. Thank you so incredibly much. All right. So, yeah, like we said, man, like it's pretty damn even distribution. Now, all right, let's get to our picks that we have for today because we've got a lot. And then we're going to dive in to everything that we have on the board today. So I'll throw this part up first. And let me set you up here because you've got a lot going on. And I say that positively. You've got another slide too. So, yeah. All right. You've got basketball for today, futures, you got golf, and then college baseball. Break it down, man.
Yeah, we've got NIT action too this weekend, which will be another piece
Yeah,
to the
save those.
puzzle.
I'll get to that slide in a second. Yeah, we got a second slide for you. Yeah.
Oh yeah, no worries. But yeah, so today, real quick, we'll go through it. Fast and furious. We'll start with golf. We took Xander Schauffele this week. Great position, in my opinion. I like the momentum that this week will carry into. I kind of jumped the gun with him, thinking that what he has a decent week here. I think it carries over. We've got the Masters in just a couple weeks, and I like where he was. The no Scheffler, the no Rory, always a big plus to me. Getting him at over 25 to 1 was a big deal. I felt like I shot 1 under yesterday. just 3 strokes back. You're never going to win the tournament on Thursday or Friday. All you're going to do is find a way to get yourself cut. So I like where he started off. Love the 26.5. Love the 2-1 almost with the top 10 and in a field that's good, but a very reasonable PGA Tour field. So I like where he is in terms of this weekend. We've been light with golf this year. We had a bunch of tournaments last year, but with college baseball, full swing, it's been positive and we've stuck to it. Today for the college basketball slate, we'll jump on Arizona at 14.5. Probably my most hesitant game of the day, but I like the number. I think that they have enough firepower to get through this one. Colorado State, probably the hottest team in the country right now. They have been playing incredibly good basketball. The Rams are, a little bit under the radar for those that don't know them or recognize them, haven't seen them throughout the year. They play strong basketball. They're a physical team. That kind of consistent guard play that is not scared to go in and body up with you. And I love that. So we took the Rams today, 1.5, 2.5. I've seen. Think it's going to be a great game. Liberty, another team that has no phase against these bigger programs, quote unquote. I think they come in, possibly win this game against Oregon today. Oregon has just floated along all year. I haven't been impressed. I said it the other day. They're okay at a bunch of things. They're not great at anything. And I think that if Liberty is able to put the pressure on them and take a lead at some point, along with the team that shoots free throws well, is what you need in March. And I love that position. And a team that no one to me has talked about is Lipscomb. Lipscomb has size and they can play physical. And I think that a team that isn't going to get out-bodied and out-rebounded all day gives themselves a great position. They are also another team that shoots free throws at a phenomenal level. So things you want in March, things that are important. And in a one-game status, you want those guys to put the ball in the tin. So I like the opportunity. And Lipscomb at over 2 touchdowns here at 14.5 with this one looks pretty nice. We're still alive. Got a little hesitant there last night with that Texas Tech game, but Texas Tech comes through. It did have Wilmington plus a 16, so that was nice as well. Get that spot. Florida, we'll find out today. Hopefully, they got a little hesitancy of thinking they're going to roll right through this after watching game one yesterday. Sometimes I think it's good too when a team has to sit out that first game and watch the Thursday madness. And I'm hoping that, the experience of Florida, the way that they're able to play shutdown defense and the way they can score, I think gives them a great opportunity. So we'll see today. We'll go from there. But yeah, should be a fun Friday.
Yeah.
And then actually, sorry, forgot. We've got even more. I missed the whole bottom of the point where we started. We took LSU. Crazy to think I get LSU at a minus 125, quite frankly. We know them for what they've done offensively. However, they've got phenomenal arms. Just keep rolling you out of the bullpen. I love what they do. I think the team sometimes getting on the road is a good position. This is one of those to me. I think LSU is in a good spot. And on the exact contrary, I think Clemson is in a phenomenal spot today at home. We know they play in a wonky Potamus Park, and if you're an outfielder, you're running around Enron out there, it feels like, but definitely has a strange feel to it. I think that especially in game one, gives them an advantage. Above all else, I love the program. I think they're playing pretty well. They've been scoring a ton of runs lately, and I think Clemson has a pretty good opportunity. Both of these at very realistic numbers for the college baseball.
Yeah, I'm with you. All right, first off, great job, man. That's an excellent breakdown across the board. Now, we've got a little bit of a showdown here, my man, because, look, I'm going to go Wake Forest against Clemson today. I'm going to take them at minus 110. So you in to play a little loser has to buy 5 memberships. You in on that?
Yeah.
All right, let's do it. Let's absolutely do it, man. Going to knock that one out. We need to. All right, there we go. 5 memberships on the line between Wake Forest and Clemson today. All right, basketball. All right, so we're going to go through these games, but I'm going to go Baylor, Mississippi State. Both teams to score 69+ points, all right, at minus 105. I'm going to take North Carolina, money line, minus 135. A little juicy. I totally get it. If you're going to roll North Carolina, I think the spread is 2.5. I don't hate it, but, dude, I'm just scared. Right? Just all spreads scare the hell out of me. Vanderbilt, St. Mary's. Both teams to score 64 points or more. Like, I almost played this one and the over in this game, but I didn't want to get too leveraged on a St. Mary's Vanderbilt game. But I think it's going to be a fun as hell basketball game. I'm going to roll with both teams to score. And if you can't find it, I mean, most books have these, right? I know I took these at DraftKings, and you can scroll down in team props under the team totals, and it's got both teams to score right there. All right, real quick, did want to give a shout out. Our man Kirk gifted 5 DTL memberships. Kirk, bless you, my friend. You are just absolutely lovely. Thank you. Now, Liberty, Oregon, over 139.5. All right, rolling on the over there. I think that's going to be a game. Going to be a ton of fun, late night. And quite frankly, these two teams can get wild, man. They could definitely score. I'm going to take that one here. All right. And then again, Wake Forest, money line, baseball today against Clemson. Obviously, we do not have totals yet, so we just have money lines here. And we only have a handful of the games that are up on the board. So we'll roll Wake Forest, and then I'll put together a little parlay. Kentucky money line. All right. And this is not a fade of Auburn. All right. Kentucky's hosting Auburn tonight. I love Auburn baseball. They're fantastic. I think Kentucky's going to come out on fire in game one. I think that what they saw against Georgia, and they held their own. Georgia scored a ton of runs, right? Kentucky did too. I think it's important for Kentucky to get a good start in the weekend. So I'm going to roll with them. And then I'm going to take Arkansas as well on the money line. Put Kentucky and Arkansas together at plus 105. And we'll have more at 3 p.m. Eastern today once we get, totals and all of that. Okay, now, Greg, I'm going to throw it back to you, my boy, all right, because you've got more for this weekend. NCAA Tournament on Saturday, and then you also have NIT picks for Saturday and Sunday. So let me throw this on the screen, and, buddy, I'm going to get out your way, man. Let it rip.
Yeah, I think it's we talked about it the other day. It's good value, and like I mentioned, a lot of my members was especially with college baseball. There's terrific value this weekend if you know what you're looking for, with all eyes and all books eyes on the volatility that is March Madness. So we've continued to dive in with with a couple pieces on both sides. First with the NCAA side with March Madness, took Creighton +9 early. I think those are great odds with getting them at such a high number. Team that's shooting the ball well. I mean, we watched what they did yesterday, and no lead is safe, especially double digits. And I think it's a really good position for them. BYU, I added as well. We had them round 1. They handled business. They looked great. And above all else, I loved what I saw defensively from them. We know this team can shoot the ball well. I was very impressed with how physical they played. I loved what I saw from them. It's going to roll me right into them again, and I think they're in a really nice position, getting the point and a half. In terms of NIT, and I will most likely be back. We'll see if I go to the Stanford game again. I feel like I have to at this point. We will be rolling the under again. I think Stanford will stifle a Kent State offense that's going to struggle with the size that Stanford has. I think the end of the year with the Cardinal, obviously there's struggles with what we saw record wise, but I liked what I saw. I liked the momentum. I like I mentioned earlier, I do enjoy the size they have. I think they've got a really, really solid big man in the middle who's playing as well as he has all year. And quite frankly, this is a step up for Kent State, who is going to be traveling for this one. Home teams in the second round will still be hosting, and that kind of keyed into why the next 2 games I added. Irvine will be hosting in this one of the second game again. I need to double check my bracket here with this NIT numbers since they keep moving around on me. But Irvine will be hosting Jacksonville State, who upset Georgia Tech. Jacksonville State will be traveling across the country, a couple days off, but not very much time. They'll be coming out to a place where they have not spent much time, down in UC Irvine. I think Irvine will handle business. Struggled early last game, a little bit of disappointment after not getting into that tournament after losing the Big West finals, but they ended up winning double digits, handling business. I expect the same on Saturday from them. Should take care of business without any issues. Loyola Chicago is the other side of things. To me, they actually played in Santa Clara. Excuse me. They actually will stay here. They played San Jose State, and they won that game the other night. They are staying down here and will be playing again in the Bay Area. So they will take on USF and they will get 6.5 points in this one. I love the fact that they're not going back and forth in this period. I think the 6.5 is good. Loyola plays a different style than what USF is used to, in my opinion. And I think that the way that they can go up and down, and above all else, like I said, shoot free throws is a big deal. And I think they'll have no problem with the USF strange arena feel. It's not a massive home court advantage.
But it's a thing. Like,
it is. And I think it's going to be big with them not having, the miles and playing late at night on the West Coast, being an East Coast team. That stuff adds up. So I like the way where everything lines up and the angles and the travel spots.
nice. I like it, man. Well done. And nice job, dude, getting ahead, taking a look at what we have going on. Yeah, for sure, man. For sure. Okay. So let's go ahead and jump into the games for today. All right. So, first off, we'll go ahead and get our stat in. All right. Ole Miss basketball. They've hit the first half over in 12 of their last 14 games. Pay attention there. That one against North Carolina, dude. I'm excited for that one, man. What are your thoughts on this game here?
Points, 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 points. I think especially after North Carolina watching the ball go through the hoop so many times and getting back to the same spot, I think it's comfort. I give them, the advantage early. They've not only played well, but they've gotten their feet wet in the last couple of days, and sometimes that rest can get those butterflies going, especially early. And we saw what happened in a couple of these games yesterday. You get down early, you keep losing that lead, keep getting farther and farther apart. It gets to the point where you can't catch back up. So, they'll be interesting. It's going to be an interesting start for sure. We'll see if Carolina can get off to another hot start.
Yeah, that's a good call, man. It's going to be a fun game, and especially with everything that North Carolina's been doing. Like, I'm excited. It's going to be a ton of fun. All right, so jumping into our games for today. So, if anybody weren't use the proper English, if anybody was not with us on Thursday, one of the most difficult things to do in betting the NCAA tournament is just the sheer amount of games that we have. You've got 16 games, 32 teams. It's daunting. It's a lot to look at, right? So what I like doing is breaking it down into the viewing quadrants that you have. You essentially have 4 sets of 4 games, okay? You've got the morning games, early afternoon games, late afternoon games, and night games. So breaking it down into 4s, I think at least it makes it easier to kind of digest and consume the games that we have, right? So I'll go ahead and pull this up. This is our first 4 that we have for today. You see the times, those are central. Remember, those are central. I'm in Nashville here, so when I pull them from the book, it's going to list them in central time. So our first one, 11:15 a.m. Central, 12:15 p.m. Eastern. All right, Baylor, Mississippi State, first game of the day. We had an awesome first game on Thursday with Creighton. I think that we're going to have a fun one here. We've got Mississippi State a 1.5 point favorite, a total of 144 and a half. And you got money lines, prices that are attractive on both sides. So I throw it over to you first, man. And we won't go through every single game just like this, but I think this is an excellent game to start. And you've got options here on playing spreads, over, under, and money lines, both if you want to play it just singularly, or if you want to use these, as a dance partner in a parlay. Both of them can help very much bring down juices if you paired it with, say, a team with a bigger spread. So I'll stop talking, throw it over to you. What do you think about the initial opening game that we have today?
I think the number was pretty right. It felt like a toss-up to me. Both of these teams have, they've had their ups and downs this year. My initial lean was to Baylor, but I didn't find enough that drew me on them. I still do like that they're getting the 1.5, but it was not enough that it kept me. It kept me away from dabbling the game. I did lean the under in this one. I didn't take it officially yet, but I did go for that opening day first round spot where I'm hoping we're going to have a slow little pace to get going, and that'll be enough to keep us there. So we'll see. This was one of the weaker spots in the day for me. I did not love either of these teams, so it made it pretty easy to say we'll move to the next one.
Yeah. Look, I'm with you. I truly believe that this game can go in any direction, and it wouldn't surprise me. It could be tight and a win by either side. It could be a blowout on either side. There could be 180 points scored. There could be 105 points scored. Like, I truly don't know what to do with this game. You know what I mean? Like, and I go back to the picks of what we had. All right. Like, it's, dude, this one's difficult, man. That's why I think that they're going to score, right? I think that we get both teams, and you can see mine on the left on the top there. That's why I took them, both teams to score 69 points or more, because I do think that they'll score. Other than that, like both getting to basically 7D, I don't know. And I don't want to know. You know what I mean? Like, I just want to play that both teams are going to score. All right, so going through the last three that we have. Robert Morris, 15 seed, and I'll pull this up because I know that it can be difficult to see on your screen. 15 seed Robert Morris gets 2 seed Alabama. Alabama's 22.5 point favorite. Got a total of 166.5. Both money lines are insane. I think we all believe that Alabama will win this game, covering 22.5. You know, I say I don't know, but go back to yesterday. Houston covered 28.5. You know what I mean? And look, Scott brings up a good point too. Alabama on FanDuel's 21.5. Shop your books for sure, because you're gonna have lines all over the place. And we'll hit on all three of these. Let me read through them. 14 seed Lipscomb here in Nashville, wonderful school here. Against 3 seed Iowa State. Iowa State is a 14.5 point favorite. Total of 143.5. Money line, you can see it there. Plus 775 on Lipscomb. If you believe in them, pulling it out. The Bisons, baby. All right, and then 12 seed Colorado State is a 1.5 point favorite over 5 seed Memphis. Got a total of 146.5. Money line is minus 120 Colorado State, plus 100 to Memphis. So read through all three of those. Feel free to take it wherever you want it. What do you see in regards to these three games?
Well, one of my brackets have got Alabama winning the whole thing, so that kind of leads this to a stay away play. I would lead them probably team total over. Again, I would look at each book because there is a lot of variety. But I think that Alabama, regardless of how they get there, I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, would it shock you to put up a 45-point first half? Probably not. And I think that two completely different styles, two different levels of ball, and a great season for Robert Morris. They won their national championship. That was amazing for them. They've gotten here now. It's a big deal. This is the beginning of the story for Alabama. They've got a lot higher aspirations and a talent discrepancy across the board, quite frankly. So I think that Alabama, I'm not sure what their team total is right now. I need to look again at it, but I do think that they are in a really good position to put up a ton of points again today. And the way we watch these games, I mean, how often when these teams want to push, are you just watching guys just run through traffic and get wide open threes or layups? And sometimes I feel like it's a matter of how hard you need to be pushed. So, I hope that maybe Robert Morris pushes them a little bit up and down, and Alabama feels like, let's just go. Let's keep going. Let's keep going. 46.5. Yeah, I do not hate that. I do not hate that.
No, yeah, I mean, Alabama, that's what Alabama does. Like, they score. They've done it all year long. They've done it for years now. Like, that's how they get down. I'll tell you this, Robert Morris is not a bad basketball team. Not bad. Now, you could be a not bad basketball team and get blown up by Alabama, because the one thing to remember is that, dude, you have to play a certain style of game against Alabama. Like, I don't care how good you are, you have to be able to score and keep up, because if they're hitting threes, it's trouble. Like, if you can't play that style of game, I don't care how good you are, you're going to be in a world of issues there. Yeah, Lipscomb and Iowa State. I'm fascinated with this one. A fun fact here, like I said, man, Lipscomb is here in Nashville, just down the street from. I mean, it's 500 feet away from Belmont, okay, and it's about, I don't know, a mile away from Vanderbilt, right? And Lipscomb also. All right, so this is obviously the college. There's a high school, David Lipscomb Academy, okay. So it's right just down the street, and that's where Trent Dilfer was the head coach right before he went to UAB, where he's the head coach now, football. He was at David Lipscomb. It's a phenomenal program that they have all the way, from elementary school all the way through college. It's fascinating to see that you have a college that's attached to all of that as well. But the Lipscomb family, man, they're absolutely fantastic. I mean, this is all about Iowa State. Like, Iowa State could blow them out, but Lipscomb could hang tough, man. I'm fascinated there. And then the last one, Colorado State, Memphis. Like Memphis getting money. Here's the reason why Memphis is getting money. Be careful with injuries. Be careful. They have some dudes that might not go. And I don't have the latest injury report on it, but if you're betting Memphis or you're wanting to bet Memphis, pay attention to that today. Go look up on it. Go read it because there's information you need to know. That's why that number sits. Not that Colorado State's not a bad team. Like they're solid. Pay attention to the injury report for Memphis, man. That's where it's at. Okay, so that's the first quadrant here. All right, let me jump to the second one. All right, and I'll put it up full screen. All right, so begins 1:50 p.m. Central. It's 2:50 p.m. Eastern. All right, Mount St. Mary's against Duke. Duke, a 32.5-point favorite, a total of 140.5. All right, second game, Vanderbilt, St. Mary's. St. Mary's, a 4.5-point favorite, a total of 135.5. And both of these money lines are absolutely in play. Plus 155 for Vanderbilt, minus 190 for St. Mary's. Those are going to be parlay pieces, I'm sure, for someone. All right, 3:05 p.m. Central, North Carolina, Ole Miss. North Carolina, the 11th seed, obviously played in the play-in game and blew out our boys out there, the Aztecs, and we got Ole Miss. North Carolina, 2.5-point favorite, a total of 155.5. North Carolina money line, minus 135. Ole Miss money line, plus 110. Both of those are playable in regards to, playing it singularly or into parlay pieces as well. And then finally, the fourth game in this quadrant here, 13 seed Grand Canyon, all right, against 4 seed Maryland. Maryland, a 10.5-point favorite, a total of 149.5. And you see it, Maryland, minus 600 on the money line. So pull that back down, throw it over to you, buddy. What do you see out of here? Not only betting underdogs, favorites, totals, parlay pieces with money lines, anything that you see out of these four games.
Yeah, I mean, I'm on I'm on St. Mary's tonight, so that is a decent value piece. I think if you wanted to make a parlay spot off of them, using the money line, I have been probably on Grand Canyon as much as anybody in the country this year. I've played them 10 to 15 times at least, and it's been ups and downs. I've watched them a good amount, and quite frankly, I'm terrified that they're going to get run out of the building tonight. If they can't shoot the ball well, I don't think their defense is strong enough against a Maryland team that at times has been pretty damn good. They've looked pretty good, and I've got some concerns with Grand Canyon going on scoring streaks. And we've seen with a lot of these teams is they've got some good starters, they've got decent play, but you've got to dive into that bench. And the minute you get foul problems, and you are in some serious trouble. And it could have happened with Drake last night. Instead, they were able to battle through that and dominated. But there's games and spots and players that you really need your guys to be on par. And I think that this is one of those positions where it's a different level. And Grand Canyon's sexy in terms of the name and the idea and where we see the double digits. But I think that this is a pretty decent Maryland spot today, and I hate the double digits, and maybe we'll get some value coming down. I don't know how much things will move, if any, at this point, but I think that Maryland is probably going to handle business. The other two games, not a big lean. I mean, I guess I've got to follow my baby blue Carolina cup that I'm using right now, but
Nice.
as a Carolina man for a while myself, I guess it's hard to go against them, but not a strong play. And then in the Duke game, there's totally no play to me. That right now, Duke is completely off limits. We'll settle with futures we have, but I'm not getting anywhere near that team right now. There's no value, in my opinion, to try to cap them.
Excellent point. I think you bring up an excellent point. There's so much volatility, and we've got the injury with Cooper Flagg, obviously, but even with or without him, like this number is massive. But Duke's blown people the hell out. All right, we saw Houston covers at 28.5. So it's not like it's not possible. I'm with you. There's no value to be had. It's way too risky. Who the hell knows what's going to go down? I honestly think this quadrant right here, take the Duke game. I mean, it's going to be fun to watch, right? But these three games are great, man. Like Vanderbilt, St. Mary's. If anybody hasn't watched Vanderbilt this year, like they, again, man, like I'm on the points on both sides, but this is a team that is severely overachieved all year long. They have no size. They have like their new coaching staff. It's very similar to Louisville. Like they played way above what they look like on paper all year long. St. Mary's, great basketball team. It's going to be fun, man. Like that's why I'm taking the points in that one. North Carolina, Ole Miss. I took North Carolina in the money line again, and I'll pull this up here full screen. I mean, look, if you believe in North Carolina, you know I don't hate -2.5. You know what I mean? There's only what North Carolina wins by 1 point. North Carolina wins by 2 points, right? Like those are the only two that could beat you if North Carolina wins that game. Right. So if you want to take the -2.5, I totally get it. I took the money line just to be safe there, but I don't believe in Ole Miss. I don't trust them at all. They've had a decent season. Don't get me wrong. Right. But it's been so up and down. Ole Miss can play terrible basketball at times, and then they can play great, and then they're terrible. Like it is a roller coaster, man. Be careful with them. If North Carolina looks anything like they have been, the last 2 weeks, they'll blow Ole Miss out. But again, who knows? And then finally, yeah, man, like Maryland 10.5. It's a lot of points, but dude, Maryland can put 85 up on anybody at any time, anywhere. Like they could score. They can absolutely freaking score, right? So, yeah, man, those are the second round of games that we have for today. Mount St. Mary's plus 32.5. I mean, why not? Like it's worth that's so many points. Basically, like, and again, I agree with Greg. Like, I'm not playing it. There's craziness. However, I mean, 32.5 points. Like, you're basically, I don't know what the team total is for Mount St. Mary's, but you're essentially playing that game. If Mount St. Mary's gets to 50 points, 54, like it's going to be difficult. Like, I don't see Duke keeping their foot on the gas. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's no reason to. They've got way bigger aspirations. Like it's just about winning and moving on, right? Like they've got 6 games that they're counting on playing. You know what I mean? Like I don't see them blowing them out, especially after having lost their star player. You know what I mean? Like I don't think Shire's messing around with any of that. Like once they get up, backups are going to get a lot of time in this game, a whole lot of time. For sure. Here are the team totals here. Sid 53 for Mount St. Mary's. Yeah, Zach got it as well. Duke team total 85.5. Like 53.5. I mean, I think that they get there. All right, let's go to our next round here. Okay. So another fun quadrant here. All right, I'll tell you what, before we do that, let me get to the picks here real quick, and I'll just read through them very fast. I'm on Baylor, Mississippi State. Both teams score 69 plus points. North Carolina money line. Vanderbilt, St. Mary's. Both teams score 64 plus points. Liberty, Oregon over 139.5. And then in college baseball, I'm on Wake Forest money line. And Kentucky money line paired with Arkansas money line at plus 105. My man, Big California Raiders on. He's got Arizona minus 14.5. Colorado State minus 2.5. Liberty plus 6.5. Lipscomb plus 14.5. 2 futures. Florida to win the national championship at plus 800. Texas Tech to win the national championship plus 3850. Golf, Xander Schauffele top 10 finish plus 190. And Xander Schauffele outright winner at plus 2650. And then in college baseball, yeah, LSU money line minus 125 and Clemson money line minus 120. What up, dog? Let it rip.
We were gonna, it's Friday. I'm playing some golf later, so last thing I want to do is deal with having to play a client game. I want to have everybody do it. I was gonna give it out later. I was gonna make it a sell play, but you know what? Our play of the day, it's moving already. I don't want anybody to miss it. We're on the Florida Gators today on the
Against
money
Georgia?
line. Florida against Georgia in baseball. We took it minus 148 last night. I think Florida by 10 run them. Georgia's pitching is awful, absolutely awful. And on the road in a hostile environment, Florida just went to Tennessee. This is a step down, in my opinion, of competition, even though Georgia is one of the most fake number 4s that I've ever seen. I don't think that they are even remotely close to what
they score a lot of runs.
Is.
Like that's what they do. Yeah.
Yeah. And Florida's got pitching. Georgia's been able to come out of every game by outmashing you. They're not at home. They're not getting the benefit of the doubt. I think Florida dominates this game, like just like we had Florida State dominating last night over Miami, and it was 14-1 or whatever. So
They
play of
whipped
the
that
day,
ass.
there it is. I think Florida. I expected to get over probably 200 before game time. I mean, went from 148 to 170 already, and hardly anyone's touching college baseball right now. Which was what I said. I think that my estimate was it should be minus 205, minus 210 was where I thought Florida should be in terms of this game, which is crazy to look at number wise, but I don't see any way that Georgia should be, close to a pick here. So we jumped on them last night. I expect the number to go up.
Hey, you know what? I'm glad that you brought that up because I was waiting on that total on that game. I'm fascinated to see what they put it because you're right. Florida has pitching. Do they drop the total low or do they keep it high because of Georgia? So I'm with you on that one. Also, TJ, giving you some love. We are lucky to have Greg. He has been killing it, man. The dude's smart as hell. And not only in just college baseball. I mean, obviously, he played it, he understands it, he gets it, but in all sports. I mean, look at that board. So, TJ, very kind of you to say, Greg, well deserved. Buddy, we are lucky to have you, man.
KBO, the real fun starts tomorrow. KBO gets going, and we've been at that for 6 seasons straight. So 2:30 in the morning gets here early, my friends.
What can't my man do? I love it, dude. All right, let's jump back into the brackets. Here is the third quadrant of games that we have today, and I'll pull this full screen here. All right, so beginning at 5:50 p.m. Central, 6:50 p.m. Eastern, we've got Norfolk State, the 16 seed, against number 1 seed Florida. Florida, 28.5-point favorite. Total of 153.5. Money lines are out of control, obviously, in that one. Florida's hit, I think, 8 straight overs. They've been on absolute fire. Just scoring I think they're averaging like 95.2 points per game over the last 7 games. Something. It's just been crazy. And that was in the SEC, tournament, right? Including the championship against Tennessee, who's got a pretty damn good defense. Next game, we've got 14 seed Troy against 3 seed Kentucky. Kentucky is an 11.5-point favorite. We've got a total of 152.5. We've got the 10 seed New Mexico taking on the 7 seed Marquette. Marquette, a 3.5-point favorite, got a total of 152.5. Moneyline prices. These are going to be your parlay friends here, man. New Mexico plus 150 to win outright. Marquette minus 185. And then the last one in quadrant 3, we've got 13 seed Akron taking on 4 seed Arizona. Arizona, 14.5-point favorite. A total of 167.5. So I know that you've got Arizona already that you've played. So I'll bring this back down just a little bit, throw it back over to you, man. What do you see out of these, whether it's spread, whether it's total, money line pieces that you might put in a parlay, play singularly? What do you see, bro?
I mean, the hardest one for me is the New Mexico Marquette game. Both of my kids have picked New Mexico to make the Final Four for some reason. So I've got a really big dilemma on my hands here if I follow the blind move of these two or decide I'm going to go with Marquette. Quite frankly, New Mexico is not that bad of a play. My fear, though, is that with what Marquette sees on a daily basis in the conference, I just think that the talent level is going to be a little bit different. Led me to stay off it. I do want to lean New Mexico. The first game, we obviously are on Florida. We like them. We think that they can handle business through the tournament. 28.5 is massive to me, like we've said earlier. My initial play, so I think Florida's going to focus a little more defensively, try to get themselves geared up, mix things up, get themselves ready for what's coming. I like the under 153 today. We know what they can do offensively. However, I think this is more of a defensive minded game. Get everybody in, get rotation, get that, flow going. And I think that a lot of great offense starts with good defense. And I think this is one of those teams that can play that way. We saw it earlier in the year when Florida was playing some serious lockdown defense against some of these bigger teams. And I think that this would be a very good opportunity for them to bust out early. 153 is still a decent number, and Norfolk is going to have to get theirs to get to that number. I expect Florida to handle business. The 28.5 is off my radar just because I think that staying within that number means they're probably going to stay under as well. So I do think that 153.5 is not a terrible number.
And let me jump
Troy,
in real quick, not to interrupt you. Like, no, I want to say on that because I'll tell you the key to Florida, And the reason that they've been scoring so many points, and don't get me wrong, like Florida's good everywhere, but the key has been 3-pointers. That is what has changed it for Florida over the last 5 or 6 games. When they're hitting threes, they're impossible to deal with. But I think that you bring up a good point. I don't think they're going to shoot that many threes. They might in the first half. All right. But if this thing's, in hand in the second half, I don't see them continuing to just drill the pace of threes because there's just no need to. At that point, Florida's not playing against Norfolk State. Florida's playing against the clock. So I'm with you in regards to defense. They're excellent in the paint. They can score, but they can D you up, man, and it's tough to score on them. So I'm right there with you. I didn't want to interrupt you, but I just wanted to hit on that point while we were talking about Florida. And Liddy, a 1999 super chat. Unbelievable. Can we get to 100 likes, please? Bam, my man said it. First off, Liddy, thank you. And second off, yeah, hit that like button for sure. It definitely helps. Liddy, you're the man. Okay, apologies on that. Greg, please continue.
No, I continue. And this is one of those games that could be two sides. They can still play great defense and win, 100-54. So it's a lot to it with games like this where the discrepancy is so big, and that's what makes the tournament so interesting. The almighty number. Kentucky Troy is a fascinating game to me. I have not watched Troy enough this year, which led me to a complete no play. However, I do think that the 11.5 is a little bit too much. I think Kentucky's been getting some love, I guess, maybe unnecessary love right now. I think that 11.5, a little bit too high in a tournament game right now. But like I said, not enough faith in Troy. Haven't seen them enough. Don't have enough bracket numbers on them. Made it an easy layoff. And I'd be the first one to tell you, I'm not betting on every game. You shouldn't bet on every game. If you do, hey, bet $5 on every underdog or whatever you want for some fun. But we might have an opinion on every game. Doesn't mean we're betting on every game.
Yeah.
The New Mexico Marquette game, like I said, another one where, hey, some fun money, enjoy it. That's a weird game. I don't expect either of those teams to make noise after this round, so kind of an involuntary one, anyways. And then the Akron game, I'm on Arizona. I think that Akron is going to be able to hang early for a while. It's going to be a matter of can they score and can they stay out of foul trouble. We've talked about it before. Team that relies so much on starters and they don't have that depth against an Arizona team that they haven't been the sexiest team in the world, but they've got some nice wins. They've beaten some quality opponents this year, and they're used to a tournament environment. We'll see if they can get through a second round this year, but but I do think that the number is still low enough to me that a few misses, some free throws, the craziness at the end of the game that we keep seeing, and they should be able to get to that number. So out of those four, that's kind of where I sit with them.
Yep, I'm with you. I think you broke it down perfectly, right? Like I like Arizona minus 14.5. Like I would be scared of playing over 167.5. I'm not saying don't do it, but I'm with you. Like there are so many ways that under 167.5 can come through. There are very few ways that over 167. Like you need a very specific style of game. You need Arizona to score in the first half, but also not enough that they're blowing Akron out. You need Akron right there coming right back. You need a fast style of play. Again, not saying it can't happen, but it's there are so many more ways that the under of 167.5 can come through than the over. So just have to be careful. I think that you played it best with 14.5 because Arizona is that good. Not that Akron isn't, but yeah, I mean, Arizona's taking down some big boy teams for sure. And like you said, the tournament, they know what time it is. They can't be screwing around. Were you going to say something?
No, that's totally it.
Gotcha. All right. So final one that we have here, our fourth quadrant, our night games tonight. All right. Beginning at 8:25 p.m. Central, 9:25 p.m. Eastern. 9 seed Oklahoma taking on the 8 seed UConn. UConn is a 5.
Looks like he lost our. Hopefully, Allen didn't have another stroke. We'll see what happened here in a minute. He was going through the final set of games right here. Let's see. I'll be back in a minute. No worries, I'm sure. UConn, Oklahoma, like we said. Illinois, Xavier. Michigan State, Bryant, and then Oregon, Liberty. I mentioned already that I am on Liberty plus a 6.5. That is still stuck there. Yeah, Alan he's got a. I check and see if he's got that bracelet when he gets back in a minute, because the hospital staff has been impressive how quickly the turnaround time has been. Oh,
Bro,
there it is. Speaking of that,
I almost made it. We went 50 minutes, dude. I almost
I
made
was
it.
looking. I said to look for the bracelet to see if your hospital bracelet's on.
Yeah. I can't believe it. Dude, I'm running on a mobile hotspot here. This is insanity. It's making me mad. Okay. So all right, we're back for however long that we got it. Xavier, Illinois. Illinois, 3.5 point favorite. Total of 160.5. Got Bryant, 15 seed against 2 seed Michigan State. Michigan State, 17.5 point favorite, 152.5. And then finally tonight, Liberty, 12 seed, taking on 5 seed Oregon. Oregon minus 7.5. And a total of 139.5. So, yeah, I throw it over to you, buddy. What do you see here, man?
I'm a UConn fan, so I will blindly follow UConn. So dabble away at that one however you like. And I've liked UConn since I was a little kid. I remember seeing Dick Vitale when it was 1 versus 2, Stanford versus UConn, and Khalil El-Amin and Richard Hamilton and Casey Jacobson, and the big days of Stanford basketball. So it's been a long run with UConn. I'm blindly following them. I don't expect either of these two teams to make it after this. So we'll go with Huskies to get our day rolling. The Illinois Xavier game is an interesting one. You always worry about the rest. Xavier played a tough game a couple days ago, had a big finish. Texas with the ultimate letdown, but so be it. Not a shocker there. I'm concerned that the legs will get worn out. Xavier played, a few games of the tournament last week, rolled over into to the playing game the other day, and it was a tough one. High scoring affair with Texas. And I think Illinois, purely off of that spot, is in a really advantageous position. Look at them either on the money line with a parlay piece. If you want to play them up to 165, 170, so be it. But I think the 3.5 is pretty decent as well with that one, especially going off of the angle for how much they've been playing in such a short period. On the other side, I also like Bryant today a little bit. Don't go crazy. Bryant's got some size, and Bryant can score. I wouldn't be surprised if Michigan State pulled this thing up early, get moving. However, you know what? I like the way that Bryant has handled themselves. A mature team that I think will not be scared by the bright lights. At the same time, it's an Izzo team in March. We know what this team is all about. We know what he is all about. Always a concern, but are they concerned about winning by 17 points? Not necessarily. And what we saw last night with Wilmington was a motivated, passionate team that, whether it was the final game or not, they were going to play to the end. I think we get the same kind of fight today with Bryant. Wouldn't be surprised if they were able to stick inside that number. And, it was disappointing yesterday. Grand Canyon misses a layup to get that cover. Or, excuse me, Grand Canyon. We missed that cover with High Point on the layup. There was a couple spots yesterday where, we were right there. Montana was there. That was a close game until the end. And it's just kind of how it goes with some of these tournaments. These teams that, just say, screw it, we're throwing the towel in, we're going to fire away threes and foul. It gets wild out of hand quickly. But I think today we're going to have another couple games that are a battle and pretty close. And I'm hoping that Bryant will battle this one and push the Spartans a little bit.
There you go. I think that they can. And you're right. When teams got to, like you said, like the quote unquote, like throw in the towel in terms of, all right, forget it. We're just firing from downtown all day long. Dude, when those start dropping, man, you start seeing obviously point totals going up and games get a little tight there, especially if a team is running, basically a prevent defense there in the second half. So I'm with you. I'm on Liberty, Oregon, over 139.5. I think it's going to be a fun game, man. I think that, Oregon minus 7.5. I'm with that on the spread, but I feel the total more. I think Liberty will push them. I think that's going to be a fun game. I'm with you on UConn. Look, Oklahoma's been a fun team, but I think UConn has turned it up the last month. Like they've been playing completely different basketball than what they were. They start to look like UConn. Yeah, go ahead.
I think too that there's something to be said with the regular season being a letdown and boring. These guys have been to back-to-back national championships. They've won them. They cruised through it last year, and I think sometimes there is that kind of, hey, we're here. We'll turn it on when it's time. And they've also got the radar on them. Everybody's trying to beat them, regardless of who it is. And we already have our feelings about Hurley and he's a fiery guy, love him or hate him or whatever. So there's always going to be a radar on him too. And I think that, maybe it's easy to say, but maybe this team can, turn it back on again come to March. Obviously the talent level is different. It's not that same team we had last year, but you just never know with teams like this. And I think, Michigan State, another team like this as well, who experience at the top means a lot, like an absolute lot with college kids. And you can't yell at an NBA guy, he'll get you fired as the coach. You can do
he
it
makes
as a
more than you.
guy.
Yeah,
exactly. LeBron's like, who are you? Go away. I'll get a new guy. You want to come be the coach today out of the stands? Come on. Like, I'm running the team anyways. But college, there is that authority. And I think that's why you see, Patinos and Caliparis and these guys have success at different programs, is because there is a level of control, kind of like Belichick had, where there is, this stranglehold that we're going to do it my way, and my way is the right way. Even when I'm wrong, I'm right. That was my junior college baseball coach's saying. So it's, it holds true. And I think that especially with this age bracket, the right coach and the right influencer can mean so much and get so much out of these players. So we'll see if it comes out again in March.
Yeah, I mean, excellent. Well said. All right, excellently. I don't need to be throwing that word out there, but no, it's well said. And you're right, man. Like, a team that's been there, and again, you don't want to be a team that's like, oh, we'll just turn it on and turn it off when we want to. And I'm not saying that UConn does that, but you're right. And I'm fascinated to see what UConn let's keep an eye on UConn. If UConn wins today and advances, you're right in the fact that they have a target on their back. For sure. Like, not that they're, the favorite to win the title this year, that target, but they just won 2 of them. You know what I mean? Like, players know, they're like, oh, hell, we got UConn. You know what I mean? Like that.
We see it every weekday in college baseball. These midweek, UTSA goes and plays Texas. It's these mid teams that play the big boys, and this is the higher example of it. But we see it every single week now.
Yeah, no, you're 100% right. So, all right, we'll get out of here. I've already tested the internet once, went to the hospital, went in, went out, got a quick IV, fixed that thing all up. These are our picks. Any final thoughts that you have before we jump out of here today, buddy? And again, let me say, man, the guys are right in the chat. We're very much lucky to have you, brother. You are so intelligent in regards to so many different sports. Plus, you're fun. You're my boy. You make it a blast every time you're on. Any final thoughts you have for today, for the weekend, all that?
Yeah, no, I mean, just, enjoy it. Have fun. Like we said before, be careful with your units. Find your spots, attack your angles, but, don't let a 9:30 a.m. loss affect your whole weekend with this thing. It's ups and downs with this tournament, and it's supposed to be fun. So this is the wildest couple days of the year, and it's been a pleasure. I'm glad to be a part of this and look forward to it through as long as we roll.
Hell yeah, man, dude. Hell yeah, indeed. And you're right. Have thick skin when betting the NCAA tournament. Let me say this. Think about how hard it is in brackets of just picking money lines. It's difficult. Now take it to betting. So and I say that as if anybody that doesn't bet, they give you guys issues over your picks, tell them, Hoss, this is the most difficult thing on the planet. What are you talking about? Everybody, man, you're going to do great. All right, we'll get out of here. Won't test our luck against the internet gods anymore. Plus, you know what? I got some pancakes to get to here, brother. So anyways, all right, everybody, best of luck. All right. Cash these tickets. We'll be live again today at 3 p.m. Eastern to break it all down. But my man, Greg Mattson, I'm Alan Bell, and we will see you here shortly this afternoon. Everybody, good luck.
Who's got it better than us?